investments in research and innovation, and affordable electricity. The implementation of the intervention to accelerate economic growth through productivity improvements and value addition to our abundant raw materials is in the anchor sectors of the agro-industrialization, oil and gas, mineral development, tourism, and knowledge economy development will shift the economic growth path to a level of 8% per annum on average over the medium term. Here is the point is that the economy for the last 37 years has been growing at a rate of 6.2% per annum GDP, the growth rate and this has been mainly in quantitative growth. Grow more coffee, grow more tea, have more cotton. That's why the economy has been growing well, 6.2%. But now, what we're talking about is qualitative. It's not just the raw materials, now adding value to the raw materials. If you transform all the cotton into textiles, then you add value to the coffee, and that's why I want to warn those people who have been decampaigning our coffee value addition efforts. I need to warn them. They must stop. We know who they are and who are behind them. They want us to continue exporting raw materials. They want us to continue exporting unprocessed coffee. They want us to keep on importing dead people's clothes from outside instead of developing our textile industry. Even some people have been fighting our refinery. They don't want us to build a refinery. They want us to continue importing, they want us to export crude, and then we import finished products. This one will not happen. And I need to warn those who are involved because we are going to move on them. Decampaigning anybody who tries to help us add value, pretending to they are agents of imperialism. So the economy will shift from growing at the rate of 6.2% to growing at the rate of 8% because it is both quantitative growth and qualitative transformation. Let me repeat that section. The implementation of the interventions to accelerate economic growth through productivity improvements and value addition to our abundant raw materials in the anchor sectors of agro-industrialization, oil and gas, mineral development, tourism, and knowledge economy development will shift the economic growth path to a level of 8% per annum on average over the medium term. This is what I was explaining. Not just growing more coffee, growing more, having more cows. No. It is because those are all raw materials. If I export unprocessed coffee, I get $2.5 for the very good coffee per kilo, what they call screen 18. But if I add value to that kilo, I get $40. This is what these people don't want us to do. They want us to continue exporting unprocessed coffee to be roasted in Italy and I don't know where. Those people get all the money, get all the jobs, and for us we continue getting these the residue at the bottom. This is not acceptable. And the agents are very active, agents of the imperialists. Mao Zedong called them comprador bourgeoisie, agent bourgeoisie. This will increase the pace of our socio-economic transformation and building an independent, integrated, and self-sustaining economy, as was enunciated in the point number 5 of the 10 points program of the NRM. The general increase in the prices of goods and services in the country, called inflation, slowed down from a peak of 10.7% in October 2022 to 2.6% in November 2023. This is expected to remain within the policy target of 5 cents or 5% over the medium term, supported by increased agricultural production, the increase in the supply of locally manufactured goods, increased exports, which increased the supply of foreign currency in the economy, increased efficiency in economic activities due to increasing integration of new technologies, including ICT capabilities in our manufacturing and other businesses, and good economic policies. Merchandise exports of goods increased significantly, growing by 54.9%. The ones with ears. Our exports increased by 54.9%. from US dollars 4.2 billion approximately in the 12 months up to October 2022 to United States dollars 6.5 billion in the 12 months up to October 2023. So between that year, October 2022, October 2023, the exports grew from $4.2 billion to $6.5 billion, a leap of 54.9%, largely driven by gold, coffee, and maize exports. Imports grew by 26%. 26.2%, much slower than the growth in exports. Although our imports increased, but for them they increased at 26%. But the exports increased by 54% in the same period. Much slower than the growth in exports, resulting in the narrowing of the trade deficit by 11.2% in the same period, because we still have a deficit globally. More import spending than export earning. we still earn less for exports than we spend on imports. But the gap has narrowed. The imports grew by 26%, but the exports grew by 54%. And this is just still mainly raw materials. If we start exporting finished goods now, this will this is the main reason why the Uganda shilling has remained stable. The Uganda shilling has remained stable, if you notice. It has remained stable, together with the strong foreign direct investment inflows and the remittances of Ugandans working outside the country. This shows that Uganda's economy remains attractive to investment, and it remains a profitable investment destination. Imports increased to $9 billion in the 12 months to October 2023, compared to $7.4 billion in the same period a year ago. That's what we are talking about. The imports also grew, but they grew less than the exports grew. The increase in imports is largely in the oil and gas sector, mineral exploration and development, vehicles and accessories. We are buying this machinery for the oil. We are acquiring that capacity to dig the oil out. Export receipts are expected to increase even further as Uganda accelerates the production of light manufactured goods and mid or high-tech industrial products through value addition, especially to the abundant mineral reserves the country has. To accelerate the process of value addition, the government is reducing further the cost of electricity for manufacturers, improving transport infrastructure, including roads and railways, eliminating bureaucracy in the government, especially in procurement, in order to attract new investments and technology transfer, making available affordable capital, and intensifying the fight against corruption through accelerating automation of government processes, frequent audits of government interventions, and rationalization of government institutions and departments. The fight against corruption is not as difficult as people think. You will see in the coming days how we are going to cause a lot of casualties among the corrupt people. Some few months ago, I hear that the Minister of Finance created a group to audit the employees, find out whether there are ghost employees. And within a short time, they have found a big number. Auditor General, I think the Finance told Auditor General. Now, Auditor General, instead of giving the report to Finance, went to Parliament. Now, this is not a political matter. So I'm going to write to the CID to go for these people. Because this is not political. Committee of Parliament. Committee of Parliament is not CID. This is trying to divert now. So now you will see these people who are, they are not clever. The money is coming from a known source. I have sent you money to pay 20 people. Each one is being paid so much. You go and you pay 25, you create artificial people. It's very easy to find out these artificial people. It's a matter of time. Therefore, fighting this corruption is not as difficult as people think. You report these corrupt people. You will see what will happen. They will give up. By the time we try to run out of space in Ruzira, people will have lost appetite for corruption. You keep tuned on this channel. The East African community, as a single trade bloc, remained the major destination of Uganda's exports in the 12 months to October 2023, accounting for 43.5% of total exports, followed by the Middle East, 18.1%, and Asia, 17.6%. Within the ESC region, the top 3 destinations for Uganda's exports in the same period were Kenya, 31.5%, Democratic Republic of Congo, 24.6%, and South Sudan, 23.3%. In the 12 months to October 2023, Uganda traded at a surplus worth US$ 716 million with all the ESC partner states. So within the East African region, we have got a surplus of $716 million. However, the trade balance with Kenya and Tanzania was a deficit, meaning Uganda imported more in terms of value from those countries than exports to them. In the 12 months to October 2023, Uganda exported goods worth US$ 890 million to Kenya. This is a big growth because in 1986-87, when we were having some issues with Museveni, Uganda was buying from Kenya goods worth $200 million that time. And Uganda was selling to Kenya goods worth $12 million. Now, we are talking of Uganda selling it to Kenya $890 million. Then to DRC, we exported value of 696 million and 659 million South Sudan. Then 298 million to Rwanda. Then to Tanzania, 213 million and 72 million to Burundi. In total, our exports to the ESC were worth US$ 2.8 billion out of the total export of 6.5 billion to all our trading partners. However, this is a very tiny fraction of our exports compared to the global exports. These exports, when you put them in the global, our percentage share is 0. I don't know whether you can write this, whether it will 0.003. It is not even 0.01. No. Walanyo. So to accelerate our prosperity, we must significantly increase the volume and value of our exports to the global market. Through increased trade, our goal of transitioning from poverty to prosperity will be achieved much faster. The same period, Uganda recorded a trade surplus with the European Union and COMESA of US dollars 113 million and US dollars 968 million. So, with the European Union, we exported more to them than they exported to us. And we had a surplus of 113 million with them. With the COMESA, we're exporting to them more than we're buying from them. COMESA is the other bigger body. And the surplus is 967 million, respectively. Our exports to COMESA were worth 2.3 billion to make the Chivalo simpler. And to the Middle East, it was 1.2 billion. And Asia, 1.14 billion. And the European Union, 860 million. Trade deficits were recorded with Asia and the Middle East of 2.8 billion and 400 million respectively during the same period. So to the Middle East and Asia, they are still exporting more to us than we're exporting to them. But this will change because I know why. Government will soon finalize the strategy to expand Uganda's GDP 10 times. That's what I have told the finance people and the cabinet. The GDP of Uganda must be expanded 10 times from the current 50 billion financial year 2023-2024 to $500 billion within a decade, starting with the financial year 2024-2025, driven by the value addition and access to export markets. Countries that have exponentially grown their GDP to around $5 billion from a base like Uganda have demonstrated that the primary drivers of the accelerated growth were: one, access to global markets with higher rates of growth of manufactured exports, and their share of world exports of manufactured goods leaping from 9% in 1965 to 21% in 1990. So this was one of the reasons. There are countries which were like us some 40 or 50 years ago who are now where we want to go, $500 billion. I will mention them later. The reason they did that, first of all, was to being able to export to Abagaga. Abagaga, when you sell to the rich, it is, you grow more. Because they buy. Abavu bagula katono. So when you are still producing only for the Wavu, then you have, like for instance, me, a milk producer, the Ugandans are not buying enough of my milk because they still don't have money in their pocket. According to science, somebody should drink 210 liters of milk per year to keep the teeth in your mouth, make sure that the bones don't break. You need 210 liters of milk per year. But the Ugandans, when we started, we were drinking only 18 liters per person per year. Katwase Vudoko, they have now improved a bit. They are at 60 liters. Now, if they were drinking, if Ugandans were drinking 210 liters, this business of saying that we have got too much milk, we need to export it, will not arise. We would actually be having a shortage. So, producing products for export to Abagaga, rich people, Jalonyo, is one stimulus for growth. Increased productivity across the strategic sectors. Specialization through skilled human capital that supported research and development, which helped to achieve competitive advantages. Okuteka science, of course, the science. Because what we are doing, what has been doing now is mwani, coffee, and suju, pumpkins. They don't need much science. Even my people in Tungam are growing them. And science. The Tungam people don't have much, but they grow the banana, they grow up. So, okay, those help us. But we also need higher value products of science. They will earn us more. Even from those raw materials. Like from milk now, there is a protein called casein, which we are selling to all over the place. So science adds more value. Prudent economic policies that harness the comparative advantages, peace and security that supported the political stability, among others. These countries, which were like us about 50, 60 years ago, are South Korea, 46 years of growth at an average growth rate of 13%, grew from 38 billion in 1977 to US dollars 1,665 billion in 2023. South Korea in 1977 was smaller than our economy now. Our economy is more or less like one and a half times where it is now, compared to what South Korea was in 1977. But now you hear they are at $1.7 trillion dollars. They have jumped. Thailand, 38 years of growth at an average rate of 7.6%, from $38 billion 1985 to 500 billion in 2023. Malaysia, 34 years of growth at an average annual rate of 8%, from US dollars 35 billion in 38 billion in 1989 to US dollars 406 billion now. Singapore, 33 years of growth at an average growth rate of 8.7%, from US dollars 36 billion in 1990 to 466 billion in 2023. And Chile, 33 years of growth at an average rate of 4.5% from $33 billion in 1990 to US $316 billion in 2023. So it's really possible what I have told the government to do. So and many of these countries don't have the resources, did not have the resources we have. If you look at South Korea, you look at Singapore, they don't have natural resources like we have. To expand regional trade and support regional development, Uganda is undertaking joint projects with the DRC and implementing interventions to reduce transport costs and improve the border infrastructure to facilitate trade and financial services across the region. We are undertaking joint projects in the road sector and electricity to Eastern Congo. Securing this market is good for Uganda in terms of exports and jobs. Ugandans, in terms of the Uganda government and President Tshisekedi of DRC will continue to work together to improve the security situation in Eastern Congo. Uganda has gained competitiveness in recent years in a number of tradable goods, including animal products such as beef and milk, agricultural products, especially coffee, tea, fish, sugar, fresh and processed food, and industrial products such as cement, iron and steel products, light manufactured goods, etc. However, we continue to face non-tariff barriers to our exports, which are being resolved through our discussion with the leaders of the ESC and COMESA. If we did not have non-tariff barriers by some of our brothers and sisters, Uganda would be exporting much more. But this will be solved. This will be solved. I'm talking to all of them. It will be solved. Tourism inflows remained resilient, recording an increase of 9% from US $978 million in financial year 2021-2022. This was the year of Corona. Our earnings in tourism went down to $978 million from more than $1 billion. Tourism inflows remained resilient, recording an increase of 9% from US $978 million in financial year 2021-2022 to US $1.1 billion in financial year 2023. This growth is partly attributed to increased confidence of travelers as the world recovers from COVID-19 global shock, the good natural attractions that Uganda has, and peace and security. Although this is a remarkable performance, the government is putting in place intervention to increase tourism receipts to US $5 billion per annum by 2028. You can see the big garden of tourism where you can earn money. The global tourism and travel industry is valued at US $9.5 trillion. You can imagine. Abalambuzi abo basasanya obutabalika mwenda n'ekitundu. They spend 9.7 trillion. You Babasukul who have got internet, if you check, you'll find that, for instance, the automobiles, a motorcar, I think their global values are like 1 trillion something. A motorcar. But tourism here, you can compare a motorcar, what is the global, you have the internet, because somebody is walking on the road, is looking at the phone. With the Banyankuri, you go looking up, you don't go looking down. But since you go with those phones, you check what is the global business of automobiles, vehicles, for instance. How about pharmaceuticals? You can check item by item. But you hear now tourism, 9.5 trillion. And Uganda has got a lot of tourism potential. In 2019, foreign visitors to Uganda spent over Uganda shilling is 4.6 trillion on tourism services, while domestic tourists spent about $3 trillion, according to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics. In total, this is equivalent to about $2 billion, which is equivalent to 0.02% of the global industry value. The number of tourists globally was about 965 million in 2021, compared to only 1.5 million foreign investors in Uganda in 2019. Kubumbi, Bukade, Wawalambuzi, Rwanda, Kagumutano, Fetulembekako, Akakade Kamu, Nextundu. That's not, we need to capture more tourists. If we increase our share of tourism receipts in this global trade by 5 times to 0.1%, and increase in the annual number of foreign tourists by 5 times under the current average spend per tourism of 3 million shillings and an average length of 8.3 nights, Uganda can potentially earn $6.2 billion per year from tourism alone. If we get more numbers and they stay longer, we can earn $6 billion per year from tourism. The lies of the European and American politicians about security and stereotype about Uganda must therefore be aggressively encountered by providing the correct information through our friends in those countries and online internet to show the correct image of the country. You remember when our sinners, you remember the unsuspected sinners, abantu bali bali mulowooza nti bononyi. When they were going somewhere, me, I was not yet following what they were doing, but what excited me was the ADF trying to go and blow them up. Why do you want to blow up these sinners? God will take care of them. So I had to go full swing to defend the sinners. Nembazingira wanawo ejinja abasirikale bibali bakolera esibimanyi, but my job was whether sinner or holy person, they should not die from bombs of ADF. So then these people, the foreigners, started giving what they call advisories to their people. Don't go to Uganda. Oh, you man, why don't you just talk about your country? Huh? The Wanyankole say Chehuruza aterumpimbi. If a man is fighting with his wife in the neighboring house, then you go there. You hear, you people, they can hit you with the mpimbi in the house. Why do you mind with the neighbors' houses? Some of these Europeans are simply afraid of the potential that we have in our strategic areas, therefore want to undermine our unstoppable socio-economic transformation and that of Africa as a whole. Other measures to boost tourism receipts include activation of passage and cargo services at Kabarega International Park in Hoima, improvements in hotels' capacity and sanitation, and competitive pricing. Awama hotel muleme kubera n'omululu okusera the people who come to your hotel to ask too much. Even if you take small, take small. So competitive pricing, because these tourists compare, Uganda batu sera, ate Kenya mwendo wakili. Be careful, don't be too greedy for quick money. Get small, but get many customers. Professionalization and diversification of meetings, incentives, conferences and events. Rapid increase in number of multilingual tour guides, including Swahili and Chinese languages, and expanded the use of destination marketing agents. So you need to train more people who speak Chinese, who speak other languages. Like recently in this conference, I saw the vice president from Vietnam. She told me that they send out 13 million tourists a year. So you can imagine if we get 1 million Vietnamese. But does somebody speak Vietnamese language? So the sector people should train, even in our schools, train people who can speak these languages. Remittances of Ugandans working outside the country increased to $1.4 billion in financial year 2023, higher than 1.1 billion in 2021-2022. Uganda continued to register growth in foreign direct investment (FDI) inflows. FDI inflows increased by 68%. 68%. In the financial year 2023, largely hinged on the development in the oil sector as Uganda prepares for its first oil. FDI inflows rose from US dollars 1.6 billion financial year 2022 to US dollars 2.8 billion in financial year 2022-2023. Formal employment has recovered from the adverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The pay-as-you-earn register, kata omanyotia ntemiri moje yongede. How do you know that jobs have increased? Mbategera ewa pay-as-you-earn, because there you can't go wrong. But who's getting a salary above a certain level pays income tax, which is pay-as-you-earn, and that one can help us to know which numbers. The pay-as-you-earn register expanded by 14.1% from 1.4 million employees in financial 21-22 to 1.6 million in 22-23 as follows. Uganda Development Bank loans to projects created 41,000 jobs, up from 24,000 jobs in 1920. Free Zones Authority created 9,000 jobs. PDM, 1.6 million members from 148,000 enterprise groups have so far benefited from the national rollout of the PDM. 1.6 million people have received the PDM money. Emioga, 378,000 jobs were created by December 2022, rising from 338,000 in March 2022. Kigezi, Acholi and Lango sub-regions registered the highest number of jobs created, while the central of Uganda recorded the lowest number of direct jobs created. In Uganda, the people need to, the youth need to be advised to focus. Waliwo abagumaza abana baffe mu bintu ebirala bino empiira biki. You may find people in the other area, in the other young people are more guided towards wealth creation. Furthermore, the number of working Ugandans subscribing to at least one pension scheme increased by 2.2% from 2.9 million in 2021 to 3 million in 2022. The ones of NSSF, abantu bameka abali mu mirimu gino gy'emisaala. How many people are being employed? You can tell from the NSSF also. The PDM is the NRM government initiative to spur growth from the bottom up and for transforming the population currently in subsistence to the money economy. The PDM is a pillar of number 5 of the NRM 10 points program to build an independent, integrated and self-sustaining economy. To date, government has invested shillings 2.23 trillion in the financial inclusion pillar of this model, targeting all the 10,459 parishes across the country for job creation and increasing household incomes. Shillings 1 trillion has been successfully disbursed to 1 million households in 10,455 parishes out of the 10,585 circles across the country. The balance will soon be disbursed when the remaining beneficiaries meet the conditions successfully, is working successfully. Government is working to improve the PDM by improving the monitoring, operationalization of the other 6 pillars of PDM beyond the financial inclusion pillar. The streamlining all government program interventions and service delivery at the parish to ensure the realization of PDM. We are not going to relax on the PDM approach because it is really correct. Because there is no way you can say there is anything wrong with that approach. 100 million shillings per parish of Ugandans have been borrowing money from money lenders who are charging them 3% per month, which makes it 36% in a year, or even higher, I hear. So how can you say this money, where the interest rate is like 6% a year, has any problem? And we are saying that each one of you can borrow $1 or 1 million shillings at a go, and you pay it after 24 months. We don't want you to pay it now. How can you say there is anything wrong with this? We are not going to be diverted to anything else. We shall more money. We want those parishes to have their own bank. The people who are fighting PDM, apart from the corrupt, are the money lenders. The money lenders are worried about this success. If it succeeds, to whom will the money lenders, the sharks, to whom will they lend? So we are not going to relax. Each year we shall spend 1 trillion, we send 1 trillion to the parishes. It will never go down. The commercial production of oil and gas will provide revenues to support the productivity enhancement in the economy through economic activities such as oil refineries, petrochemical plants, petroleum product distributors, natural gas distribution companies, and retail outlets. Government is enhancing investments in this area by fast-tracking the construction of the East African crude oil pipeline and the oil refinery. The pipeline will have the capacity to pump up 330,000 barrels of crude per day. So, all these things you are talking about, our oil has not yet come in. Because this oil will be giving the government free money, new money. And that will enable us to do so many other things which we want but cannot manage now. The knowledge economy is the intellectual-based economy for the production of goods and services. This process enables entrepreneurs to innovate better, in manufacturing processes and improve the quality of services offered in the economy. Globally, the knowledge economy, which entails research, science and innovation, is currently a major employer of especially the youth and a major contributor to technological advancement in a number of areas. In addition, the pathogenic subsector is one of the promising segments of the country's knowledge economy, consisting of research and development, technology transfer and commercialization of innovations. This targets pathogen control and management, such as the vaccines, the diagnostics, the therapeutics, and the attendant facilities. Leveraging a knowledge-based economy will require the following: supporting research and development, R&D, and linking research hubs with universities and industry operators. Now, this scientific research is a real gold mine. For instance, our scientists have recently discovered the anti-tick vaccine, where the cow will be vaccinated and the cow will go around killing ticks. So the cow will be a tick killer rather than being a victim of the ticks. Now, this one was developed by your people, your scientists. And this is one group. There is Dr. Kawa, who is also working separately but doing the same. So deliberately investing in improving the quality of education, skills development, and in particular, and ICT. Putting in place a strategy for long-term development of specialized skills to support a more sophisticated and diversified economy. Developing an effective apprenticeship program to quickly acquire knowledge, expertise, and technology transfer, given the rising global ICT village. Putting in place a reward system and a functional transparent patent system for innovation. The NRM government will continue with the development of energy infrastructure and complete the ongoing electricity projects to lower the costs of electricity for manufacturers and small-scale businesses, including commissioning of the third turbine of the 600 megawatt Karuma hydropower project, addressing the gaps to fully operationalize Isimba power plant, and completing Nyagak in West Nile and Orio mini hydropower stations power plants. To facilitate power evacuation, the completion of the Miramach-Kabale 132 kV line, Kampala Metropolitan Transmission System Improvement Project, and the Masaka-Mbala transmission line will be expedited. Activities for the development of nuclear energy to diversify our energy sources will also continue, starting with Buyende in Busoga. Nuclear energy is expected to add another 2,000 megawatts to the national grid by 2036. However, by 240, we must ensure the generation of 52,000 megawatts from all sources. Government has supported the development of industrial parks. 7 are currently operational, and they include Namave, Jinja, Boyogerere, Soroti, Mbale, Kasese, and Ruzira. In addition, there are 3 industrial parks developed under the public-private partnership arrangement at Kapeka, Mukono, and Uyukwe. Uganda Investment Authority has acquired an additional 12 square miles for industrial development provided by the various local governments across the 18 zones in the country. Investing in the people of Uganda, which includes health and education, will continue to be given priority, including addressing the poor governance and the wastage of public resources in these areas. Whereas the outcomes have improved, we have not yet achieved desirable levels, especially in the critical areas of education and health. Security infrastructure and interventions to maintain peace and security of the people of Uganda, investors, and our visitors is guaranteed. This included strengthening the capacity of the security agencies to address emerging security threats, addressing discipline issues of security personnel in the Uganda People's Defense Forces, Uganda Police, and Uganda prisons, enhancing the security infrastructure to detect crime before it happens, and addressing the welfare of personnel in the security forces. This includes the security interventions and achievements under the anti-livestock theft and disarmament operations in Karamoja and Operation Shuja in DRC. The security infrastructure we have built will eliminate the very few remaining loopholes where ADF terrorists are exploiting to carry out cowardly attacks on civilians. As we commemorate the 38th anniversary of NRM victory, I want to assure everybody, including our visitors and investors, that Uganda will remain a peaceful, secure, and prosperous country. Ekiri mu nsiko bwe kiruwatuka ensi eri kankana, omwana aliyita nyina, omukulu aliyita engozi. That was one of our songs in the bush that has always been the potential of NRM. When we were a students' movement, a liberation movement, and while in government. This saying says that what is hidden also, out, if it comes out, when it explodes, the world will shake, children will shout for their mothers out of fright, etc., etc. That is what the NRM always does. Like when we captured Kampala in 1986, everybody didn't know that we had that capacity. The recent two mega conferences of NAM and the G7 plus China demonstrated a little bit of this. A delegate from Russia, a deputy minister, told me that only the superpowers can organize such a conference. Uganda is still on the way, but it will soon be there because the base is already there. We shall really be a superpower because we are moving towards that. There were 1,918 delegates in that conference. 1,918 delegates from 129 countries. 129 countries sent people here. 16 presidents, 9 vice presidents, 16 prime ministers, 7 special category people coming into Uganda by airlines, but also with 32 private jets. I thank the Ugandans for the discipline in receiving these visitors. These countries who are in the conference here have a population of 6.6 billion. This is 80% of the human race. More importantly, look at the facilities we built partly for this occasion, but also in order to improve the infrastructure of the country. Some of them built in 1 year. Look at the new terminal built by the UPDF Engineering Brigade. You can imagine that terminal was built by the UPDF Engineering Brigade. Yeah. Look at the conference center built by Sudanese company using government money. You show us Sudanese, the conference center. That was one of the delegates was asking, one of the presidents was saying, are they the Chinese who built this? We said, no. This was built by our local company. And that terminal, which the engineers brigade built, is there is nothing we cannot do. It is just a question of prioritization. Some people always talk about the potholes of Kampala. They should also talk about the good upcountry roads from Kisoro to Nimri, from Busia to Busunga in Bundubujo. Those roads are there to the hinterland of the country, to the upcountry districts. Without corruption, we have the capacity to do everything. I have already instructed the engineering brigade to start preparing to build the standard gauge railway instead of only waiting for outsiders to do it. I thank you, and I wish you all peaceful celebrations. Thank you very much.